Hello, my name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. In this episode here, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the JFK investigations that has been done over the past 54 years. Now, one thing I never did understand, and what really got me more concerned when I started doing my investigation into JFK assassination, is all the things that was overlooked is one, and two is other researchers, when they did their investigations or research, there's a lot of things that we're not told about. Okay, now to do a proper, which to me, when I look at the case, when I first looked at the case, I should say, even actually still to today, how a lot of things was mishandled. Excuse me. A lot of things was mishandled. A lot of things was overlooked. And it's like nothing was properly done, not even a proper investigation that was ever done into this case. Just like, when I did my investigation, okay, now I get a lot of heat from people because of the research I've done and the evidence I show. Okay, I still get a lot of heat from it. Okay, and I get bad comments and everything else like that. But like I said, a lot of people don't understand. Okay, nothing in the JFK assassination case has been properly documented, has been properly filed. Okay, this is the reason why that left a lot of doors open for a lot of false accusations that can be made. Okay, when I sit there and I read, like I said, when I first started taking on this case, I read a lot of books into JFK assassination. I read Crossfire's book. I read, Jim Myers' books. I read Robert Groden's books, Bill O'Reilly's books. All the books that was written on JFK assassination. But one thing I never did understand when I read over their books, even when I watched documentaries, there's nothing properly documented. Okay, there's nothing properly backing up stories that people say, as well, just like an eyewitness. Okay, this is the reason why when I did my investigation, I said, well, I'm going to do it differently. Now I'm going to do the research, I'm going to do an investigation, and I'm going to analyze everything myself, look over everything myself, and not put it out to somebody else or hear somebody's story. Because when we read the stories, okay, we like an eyewitness account, which I'll bring up for a moment, which I'll bring in, we'll bring up Beverly Oliver, Gene Hill, and James Files. Okay. Now, one, I don't say nothing bad about these people. Okay, but the stories are false. Okay, I will let everybody know that I don't believe in their stories, and I really don't. But I noticed that when I did my investigation and I did my research, did anybody actually look into Beverly Oliver's story? She claims she's the babushka lady. Did anybody actually? And that's what got me even about Jim Garrison's research. He's a lawyer. And you would figure Jim Garrison, I'm not saying nothing bad about Jim Garrison. I'm just saying, he's a lawyer. And a lawyer is supposed to, by law, investigate. If someone gives them a claim, they're supposed to investigate that claim and see if they're telling the truth or not, so they can push it to the side. If they find out there's a lot of false information in it, they'll come to you and say, hey, I cannot use this information here because of everything that you're saying. There's a lot of flaws in your story that if I put you on a witness stand, they're going to eat you alive. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why I sit there and I start looking at it. I was like, wait a minute, nothing's properly documented. Like the eyewitness accounts, if they actually study and look over the stories that these people told and did an investigation on their story, and, and seeing things and look over things that they claim, okay, years ago, this stuff could have been pushed to the side. It could have been pushed aside. Their stories have never been told. It's like Gene Hill. When you hear her story changes and stuff, and then she adds more to it and everything else like that, and you do an investigation, you find none of that information that she's given is true, then we have to get rid of her as an eyewitness. Even though she's there, don't get me wrong, even though she's there, but her story keeps on changing. Her story is false as she's telling us. So we can't use that. So that's got to be properly documented and told so people knows that, hey, wait a minute, she changed her story and everything else. So we have to push that to the side. Same thing goes for Beverly Oliver. Beverly Oliver, when you do an investigation stuff and you see the stuff that she tells us in her story, even in her book, okay, and you hear all this stuff, okay, and you see the things firsthand like I've done, you can't say, well, this has to be properly documented. She was not telling the truth. She was not the babushka lady. This has to be properly documented. Everybody wanted to push the story and back her because they want to push this, conspiracy thing, that there has to be conspiracy. I understand that. Like I've shown in my research, in my books, in my videos and everything else, I have found evidence to prove there was a conspiracy. Okay, it doesn't have to be coming from a story. But if they would have properly documented and found out, say, hey, she wasn't the babushka lady, and reported that and documented that, then we wouldn't have to worry about them false stories coming out no more. Same thing goes for James Files. When we go over James Files' story and stuff like that, and we put that to the test, we just start doing investigations, see if he's telling the truth or not, and find out he's not telling the truth, okay, we can push that to the side, as long as that's properly documented and it's reported to the people so they know this information, so they know not to base anything on these people here. Like I said, there's a lot of, they want to investigate eyewitnesses and stuff like that. They don't do this. They've never done this. Just like the lady here. Again, I'm sorry I was trying to put this video together real quick, putting things together. Like her. She tells in her testimony that the police officers told her there was 2 bullets to strike bullets striking the manhole cover and everything else. However, no one investigated it. No one properly documented it. No one probably, reported it. Okay, she's an eyewitness. She was there. Okay, but nobody's properly documented. Nobody's properly reported it. Okay, if they investigated her story, they would have found that, hey, 2 shots did strike the manhole cover. We can see it in the Zapruder film. We have images of Secret Service agents and police officers and everything else looking over that manhole cover. This is the cop she was talking to. This is the cop right here that told that lady, which like I said, in the investigation, that told that lady that, hey, a bullet, they had to retrieve bullets from the manhole cover, which indicates and which shows, which could have been properly documented because they had the evidence here. The Zapruder film shows us, okay, here's their evidence. This is what I'm talking about. People don't understand this. That's why, I don't understand a lot of things when it comes into the JFK assassination. Nothing was properly documented. Okay, like right here. Let's go for this for a moment. Let's bring this up. And I'll try to, we'll go through this and we'll talk about this and everything else so people can understand. Okay, which instead of, let's pull up we got the, see what we got down here so far. We got the manhole cover, the eyewitness, the Zapruder film, which shows the 2 bullets striking the manhole cover. Okay, and then we have all these images, which I have right here and here and here, but we'll go ahead and bring up this one right here with it all, which I'll show you. Okay, let's bring this up. And that's why I said it helps us out and shows us, and we can have more of an investigation now when we do it this the proper way. Like, oops, lost it all for a moment. But like I said, we're going to do it the proper way. Like I said, I'll put this down here. Okay, if they investigated it and did it the proper way and reported it and everything else and how to file and report it. Okay, we have the eyewitness right here. Claim, hey, there was bullets striking the manhole cover. Okay, and as an investigator or researcher, well, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to look at her story and I'm going to look into it. I'm going to investigate her story that's told. She said a bullet striking the manhole cover, the concrete part of the manhole cover. A police officer did tell her they had to retrieve a bullet there and stuff. Okay, so we're going to put 1 and 2 and 3 together. Well, she said it, so I'm going to go ahead and investigate. So I'm going to look over the films and images and see if there's any films or any images showing that manhole cover. And as you see, I found out, hey, in the Zapruder film, we can see 2 shots striking the manhole cover. So she's telling the story now. Now we have photographic evidence backing it up. Then we sit there and go, okay, well, in 1975, like I said, if they did proper investigation, proper reporting, 1975, there was a bullet found, a bullet casing found on the rooftop of the county records building in this location right here by a worker in 1975. Okay, well, you know, there's a bullet there, a bullet casing. All right, that's found there. So we're going to investigate that as well. So after we do our investigation and we find images and stuff, okay, she claimed there was a bullet retrieved there. Well, the photographic evidence does in fact shows us, as you see right here if you watch my cursor, shows us they're retrieving a bullet from that area there. We see the police officer that she talked to was right there in the same location of that manhole cover. Excuse me. We see in the film the bullet striking the manhole cover. Her story is being backed up by photographic evidence. That's what we do a proper investigation. So when we start piecing all this together and all this information together, and this Zapruder film also showing the gunman on the rooftop of the county records building on the Sprocket Hole area. So we know for a definite fact now that her story is true because she claimed bullet striking that manhole cover. The police officer, we seen the police officer in film and the images of the police officer she was talking to that said they retrieved a bullet there. We see also in the images as well the bullets that was retrieved there. Then we take these bullet markings and we line them up. Okay, well, they line up to the records, to rooftop of the county records building where these shots line up to. Then we know there's a bullet casing found up on the rooftop of the county records building, the same location where these bullet holes are lining up to. And then when we take that straight line and we go down here where the curve where James Tagg was standing at, we're going to say, okay, well, now we know and we can document this, that this manhole cover shots is in the same line of fire as the curb shot. So when we line that back up, we're going to see James Tagg's location with the manhole cover location and the rooftop of the county records building. We're going to see that's all in the same line of fire. So now we're going to have evidence now. Now we have evidence to show, hey, there was a gunman on the rooftop of the county records building. How can we know this for a fact? Well, we see the curb shot. We got the 2 shots of manhole covers. Eyewitnesses claiming bullet striking there. Photographic evidence of bullet holes that's in the manhole cover concrete, even still to today. We see the bullet holes lined back up to the rooftop of the county records building. On top of the county records building, they found a bullet in 1974 or 75. A bullet casing, a worker did. Found a bullet casing in that location. Do you see what I'm saying? So everything's adding up and everything's piecing together. And then we have seen the Sprocket Hole areas of the Zapruder film, a gunman on that location. Okay? And we see in the Zapruder film the bullet striking the manhole cover concrete and bullet ricocheting upward or retrieving the bullet. So when you have all this properly investigated, properly documented, all this information could have been out years ago. Just like here. There's your evidence right there. Like I said, when you're going over eyewitness accounts, the stories and stuff like that, right there is your evidence to prove there was a conspiracy, to prove there was more than one gunman there. But they never done that proper investigation. The only thing they was going by is basing it on this story here by Beverly Oliver. I'm the babushka lady. Okay, they didn't do no proper investigations because, like I said, if they went ahead and did these proper investigations, okay, and looked at the evidence that's in front of them and pieced it all together like I've done, all this information would have been done years ago. Just like, okay, here's another thing that I want to point out, which I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to bring this up right here. Okay, as you see, this is the time frame I came up with, which, again, we never see in anybody else's reports or books or documentaries or anything else. We have a time frame of the Zapruder film. We have a time frame of the Orville Nix film. We line these time frames up. And we said, well, we're going to start with frame 133 of the Zapruder film when JFK's limo's first started. So we're going to mark that location down here. Then we're going to go ahead and say, well, the shot occurred, the fatal headshot occurred to JFK right here. So we're going to mark that down on the map. Then we're going to watch the Zapruder film from this point here until the fatal headshot, which will be shot number 4. But we're just going to look at the fatal headshot. We're going to find out it only took from this point here when we first see JFK's limo to the fatal headshot to JFK was 14.06 seconds. Okay, that's called a proper investigation. That's called a proper, doing research and reporting this. Okay, this should have been done. Now, a lot of people probably sit there and go, well, you know, there ain't no sense in going in that much detail and stuff. It's always been in front of people, but I've never seen that done before. I've never seen it done before. Even if they just went ahead and did the time frame for the fatal headshot, we would have known that as soon as you got to this location here to the time of the frame of the headshot, we would know it's 14.06 seconds. This should have been properly documented and everything else years ago. Not today, not when I took over, you know, when I started doing this research. It should have been done years ago if people did proper investigations and proper documents and writing down stuff and going over everything like you're supposed to when you do an investigation. Okay, that's why I sit there say today, 54 years, going on 55 years now, the JFK assassination is not going to be solved because too many false claims are out there. Okay, if everything was properly investigated and everything was properly done and everything was properly in order, okay, we would have the evidence a long time ago. It wouldn't have took me to do it. Someone else could have done it. The evidence has always been in front of the public's eye. Like I said, I hear these stories time and time again where people sit there and says, hey, I went over this Zapruder film 1,000 times. I went over this film 1,000 times. I looked over all the images and everything else. Okay, just like the backyard image. If people done an investigation into that backyard image, you're going to find out, well, hey, wait a minute. This image was developed and stuff in February. He didn't buy the Carcana rifle and the revolver until March, which was 1 month later after these images was taken and developed and stuff. So what kind of revolver he has on his hip here? What kind of rifle he has in his hand here? We know it's not the Carcana rifle. We know it's not the revolver that they found on him. Okay, if they'd done improper investigations and stuff, they would see, well, now there's 2 rifles, not just 1. Even this goes for, people think I'm just talking about these JFK researchers. No, this is even about the government, the FBI, the CIA, you know, the police departments and stuff. If everything was properly documented and properly filed and properly investigated, a lot of this information would have been out years ago. But it wasn't. All this stuff was overlooked time and time again. The evidence has always been there. Just like when we look at the autopsy photos. You're telling me that a researcher or an investigator, okay, sit there, looks at this autopsy image here, and I'm going to sit there and look at it and go, well, wait a minute. This is the inside of his scalp here. There's a bullet hole here, and there's a bullet hole here. That shows an individual of 2 bullet holes. And then we know there's a bullet hole right here. So now we got a bullet hole over here, 1 here, and 1 here. That's 3 times 3 bullet holes in JFK's head. 3. Not 1, not 2, but 3. You see what I'm saying? Again, evidence that shows there was a conspiracy. Always been in front of the public's eye. But no one's never took the time to investigate that. No one's never took the time to do it. They'd rather hear the story, that's write their story down, not see if they're telling the truth or not, but write the story down just like Mr. Zapruder. We watch Mr. Zapruder in the film stuff, he jumps right off the wall. He's supposed to have vertigo. And I know people that has vertigo. They're not, first off, when they're up on that wall, it's going to be a hard time trying to get them down. Actually, I have a cousin that was on a roof. He had vertigo. And we had to call the fire department. This is the honest God's truth. I'll put my hand on the Bible. Honest God's truth. We had to call the fire department to get him down. When that fire department got there, they looked at us and said, are you serious? And I said, yes, he has vertigo. We have to get him off the roof. He was only 3 feet from the ground. See, on this side of the roof, when you look at it this way, okay, here's the garage roof. On this side here, yeah, there's a drop. But he wasn't on that side. He was on this side over here. And actually, it goes up to a hillside right there where the garage is. And right here, it's only about this far from like 3 foot from the ground to the top of the roof ledge right there. All you had to do was just step down and he'd have been there. Actually, it was shorter going from here to here. But we actually had to call the fire department to get him down. This is a proven fact. This is the truth. Okay? Because he had vertigo. This guy here, Mr. Zapruder, jumps right off the wall. Okay? Jumps right off that wall. He gets up on a wall without help. He gets off the wall without help. when we watch Mrs. Sessman that's in behind him, at first she's not even touching him or anything else. It wasn't until when the shots started getting ready to be fired, that's when she brings her hands up and covers Mr. Zapruder's ears. Okay, she brings her hands up this way first, and then she drops her elbows down with her hands still holding Mr. Zapruder's head. As going, if they did a proper investigation and said, wait a minute, he has vertigo, why did he jump off the wall like that? How's he just walking away? Calm and cool. So now, as an investigator, as a researcher, but also doing an investigation, now I got to investigate him and wonder why this thing's occurred. But then again, no one's never done that. This is the reason why I get a lot of heat from my research, because I put the evidence together. I did investigations. If I say something to somebody, there's a lot of information there, just like right here. We had the babushka lady turn on the light. Why is she turning on the light for? Who's she trying to signal? She didn't have light on to begin with, and now she's turning on light. And we can see that's below the camera, because we got the camera up here, and it's way below the camera. So she's signaling something to someone. The Mormon photo. For years, everybody's too concentrating on looking over by the picket fence area, when the two gunmen was right there in front of their face the whole time. They're right there in shelter number 3. As you see, there's the gunman's face right here. Here's his hands and his rifle sticking out. Here's the second gunman right here. Here's his head and his face stuff. Here's the rifle sticking up. Here's his arm coming around here. Okay, it's always right here. Here they are, right here. Okay, if they did a proper investigation, a proper research, and documented this, and go over every image and document what can be seen in all these images, and then after you document it all, then you piece it all together with this one here. That's what I did. Okay, that's how I did this. That's how I did my investigations. Okay, by looking at all this, and I piece it all together as you see right here. Okay, we have the eyewitness bullet striking a manhole cover. We have a bullet casing found up here. We have images of a gunman on the rooftop of counteractive building right here. We have photographic evidence, which is from the film scene, 2 shots striking that manhole cover. We have Secret Service agents, police officers and stuff look around that manhole cover. Image of that manhole cover taken the same night of the assassination. A bullet retrieved in that location and stuff like that. Okay, so we have all this and we piece it all together. That's what makes it an investigation more easier to understand, an investigation more easier to show when you piece it all together. That's why it took me a long time to piece everything together and stuff, because I had to investigate the people's story. I had to investigate each eyewitness account. There's documents said over here, over there. Nothing was properly organized. Nothing was properly documented. Nothing was actually properly done when it came to the JFK assassination. This is why today we have all these stories. That's why I get a lot of heat from a lot of people. I get a lot of heat about my research I've done. I get a lot of heat about the videos I make. Okay, because the pure simple fact is because what I'm showing. I'm showing evidence. Now there's people that say, oh, that's not evidence because this person said this person. Remember, that's just a story. But if you do a proper investigations, like I said, you know, I'm trying to do all this on my own. I'm trying to promote this research, show this research to people. I did the investigations myself. I make the videos myself. You know, I wrote the books myself. I've done everything. I make the covers for my books and everything else like that as well. I'm doing it all myself. I did the investigation myself. I did the research myself. I went over all the documents. I went over all the films. I colorized all the images. I didn't send nothing out to nobody. All these other researchers and stuff are investigators. Well, here you investigate this and here you investigate that, and you come back to me and you tell me, what do you find out? Okay, but I've done it all on my own, and I've done it in 13 years. This is a big case. Okay, it's a big murder case. It's a history. Okay, the evidence is there. Evidence of conspiracy has always been there. That's why I wrote my book, Evidence of Conspiracy. That's why I call it Evidence of Conspiracy, because in the book, there's evidence to show there was a conspiracy. I want to make this video here and talk about that and show some things and explain some things. Okay, I'm not in doing this research to change people's minds or anything else. I'm here to show the evidence that's always been in front of people's eyes. I'm here to show what can be seen. That's it. Okay, that's it. That's why I want to make this documentary, because not only the documentary is going to be made, but everything's going to be properly written down. Everything's going to be properly marked down and filmed and everything else. So it can always be documented the right way. That's all I'm trying to do, is document it the right way, not the wrong way. Like I said, there's things they could have done. A lot of researchers could have done. But they intend on not doing research, not doing that investigation, and just go ahead and go with the story. Let's go with the flow. But that's not a proper way of, trying to prove a case, especially when it comes to JFK assassination. This is why there's too many stories, false stories going around and stuff like that, because of that. But I'm the one that gets more heat than any other researcher out there. I get more heat because of what I say. I get more heat from what I present. I get more questions asked to me than they ever done in their whole career. Than their whole career. That's the truth. But I can deal with it, because I know it's hard to understand that, hey, the truth has always been there. It's always been there. Always in the description down below, you find a site where you can order my book, Evidence of Conspiracy, the only book you need in JFK assassination. There's still 4 days left on a GoFundMe account. For anybody who donates $30 or more, will receive a free copy of the DVD when it's completely done, of the documentary. Their names will be in the credit. Okay, like I said, this is the last chance for this documentary to be. This is the last chance the documentary is going to be made. This is the last chance for you, the people, that can help me in getting this documentary made. That's the reason why I set the GoFundMe account up, to get help, to get this evidence out there, so people know and properly do the investigation, properly document this stuff the proper way, with your help. Again, in the description down below, you find a site where you can make your donation. Like I said, $30 or more. You'll get a free copy of the DVD as soon as it's done, before anybody else will. Your names are going to credit for your support. And in the description down below, again, you'll find the site where you can order my book, Evidence of Conspiracy, the only book you ever need in JFK assassination. Don't forget that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. Share this information and other information with your family, friends, and relatives and stuff like that. Share it on social medias. And don't forget that like button. Thank you, and you all have a pleasant day.